All right, there. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried. Are you worried? Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Fiona. I use she/her pronouns, and welcome to this stream of Not Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs. Sorry for a little bit of a delay. Basically, I was like, okay, I'll come home, we find everything like that. And I'd moved it already back because I had to be in the office today. So I was like, I'll start at 6, no problem at all. And then as soon as I sat down at like 1:45, I was like, I've absolutely done nothing for this. So I was just busily putting things in the background, trying to find actual okay music for this stream, because I don't know, well, those people out there, I know Hamilton, you are watching, when you're trying to find music that sort of suits the vibe of it, that's not like too scary. So turns out a lot of my older RPG music that I've got, so all the music done by RPG Music Maker that I use on this channel, is either really horrible creepy vibes or like super intense battle music, and I was like, neither of those fit. So I was desperately trying to find something that is supposed to suit the theme of this stream today. But it's the first of 2 streams because I thought I hate myself. No, I actually have a lot of RPG books I need to read through before September, because I realise that I am going to be away for a lot of September, so I might not be able to do as many streams. I certainly won't be able to do it any whilst I'm away, unfortunately, just because I don't have the same tech setup, or setup is what I was going to say, and I also don't have, and also I should be doing other things as well, like actually going outside. So I was like, why don't I just do a whole bunch of them, and then whilst I'm away, I can do the thumbnails, I can sort them out, so it looks like there's plenty of content for people to go back through, so you won't miss me too much. But also, I've got some quite exciting projects on the thing. I've been asked to do a reading club of The Good Society, which we did yesterday, so that's all done. I've finished off all my reading prompts for that, so hopefully those will go out to those people. I've got Fiasco and Brindlewood Bay coming up soon. Games coming up soon for an improv festival. We've already done Fiasco. That's pretty straightforward, but I needed to go through Brindlewood Bay, which will be the second Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPG stream tonight. But yes, today we're going to look at Flabbergasted, a comedic role-playing game. Fun Fiona fact, I've actually recently played in a game of Flabbergasted, as has friend of the channel, Taylor from Backwater Bastards, and it was super fun. I loved it. It was very cartoonish, it was very comedic, it really played on all those themes. If you've ever seen a bit of Fry and Laurie, Worcester and Jeeves, what's the other, Foyle's War is the other thing I was trying to think of, but anything like that, sort of like mid-20s European sort of like comedic things going awry, this is the game for you. So I thought I'd go and check it out again, really, because I also think it's also got a really nice setting as well. It feels very, it feels very bright, but that's obviously because of the artwork is absolutely incredible and gorgeous. So we're going to have a look at it there. Oh my goodness, I'm so surprised. I'm super surprised your music is only in those categories. Oh, I hope you're sitting down at the airport there. Hello, Ramon the Mad on Twitch. Hope you're well. We're just about to look through some RPG stuff, so I'm glad you're here for the ride as well. But yes, so I've put a link in the chat if you want to check it out, but if I go over to this is where I hope I put it on the right screen before I went live. I haven't. Let me sort that out for you. So this is what Flabbergasted looks like. You've got a sneaky peek of the cover there, but Flabbergasted, a comedic role-playing game set in the Roaring '20s. So yeah, you're a slightly more upbeat version of The Great Gatsby, I would say. Join an up-and-coming social club and get up to mischief, mayhem, and many marvellous misadventures, all before your afternoon tea. So instantly, I know this game, again, from playing it, but also it has that writing nailed down. It's got the tone nailed down, it's got the voice nailed down. That is what we absolutely love. It also got an Emmy. It was I can't remember exactly which Emmy it was. It was just a nominee for one of the categories. It didn't win, unfortunately. I don't think it was Best Art. I think it was like Best RPG or something like that, because it is fairly new. I think it came out last year, and now obviously it's getting into the zeitgeist as more people are being, you're able to buy it, because it was kickstarted originally, so people are now being able to buy it and stuff. So let's have a quick read of the thing. Typically, I have made it so that all right. Here's a thing. friends who create role-playing game websites where we can buy stuff off, can we have it so that the image, I don't know, have a consistency, either have the image on the left and the writing on the right, or the writing on the left and the image on the right, because every time I have to be like, well, I've hidden the writing with my big moon face, so let me just, ooh, there we go. I mean, it's quite easy sort, really, but it looks a bit embarrassing because I've not got it right. But yes, Flabbergasted is a rules-light and narrative-driven tabletop role-playing game set in the Roaring Twenties. Comedic... Oh, stop that. Yes, you can't see it, but basically I keep clicking on things on the website, and it keeps like turning things up. Like, I'm just gonna... There. Stop. Comedic scenarios and light-hearted adventures are the heart of Flabbergasted, drawing inspiration from the likes of Jeeves and Wooster and Fawlty Towers. 100% it feels like Fawlty Towers in aspect as well. Maybe without the racism in it, though. Set in at the turn of the 20th century, you take on the role of either an affable aristocrat, an entrepreneurial well-to-do, an idealistic bohemian, or one of the ever ready and steadfast staff. So those are the 4 different classes you can play. Together, you and your friends will join an upcoming social club and get invited to secret societies and work towards leaving your mark in this world by cultivating your reputation. And I will say, the next episode, so the next one shot coming out on where is going to be the Flabbergasted one I was in, and I've just about nearly finished episode 3 editing it just at time of streaming, and it's very fun. You know when you sat there going, oh, everyone's really good and I'm okay and the DM's really good and stuff, because I didn't run it, I was actually playing in it. Yeah, it's really good. I'm just going to go through this stuff quickly. You can get some free downloads. There's a free quick start guide, which we're not going to look at today. We're going to look at the full book. The character and club sheets, play materials and supplements, and the press kit as well. Some reviews, all good as well. So there's plenty of stuff going on. Like you can check out some actual plays of it as well. So yes, Wondrous Tome. I hadn't actually heard of them before I was introduced to Flabbergasted. I don't know if they do any other games. Murder Mysteries is, I think that might be their upcoming one. I'm gonna quickly click on it and we're gonna find out what's gonna happen. No, it seems to be already out. Well, that's very cool. So those are the 2 sort of things they're known for, sort of murder mysteries, sort of games of some sort. Oh wow, they actually broken down here. I don't know if you can see it. There's like how many players? Is it like a LARP? So how many players? Like 8 to 10 players for this one, and then 10 to 12 players for this one. Different kinds of characters, and a breakdown of actually how many characters by gender, which is very interesting. Oh, and if you sign up to their newsletter, you get the In the Shadow of the Lord for free. Oh, maybe I'll check that out after this. All right, I'm going to click off this, and we're going to go straight into Flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. One thing I wanted to show, and I didn't have time before the stream because I just couldn't. I know I just have to add another input into it, but the actual book comes with a whole load of like images that you can hand out at your table, like little leaflets and stuff. So you can have stuff like there's like masculine fashions, there's like an accessory guide. And it's trying to open it up in a PDF I don't have. Like there's a menu, there's a drinks guide, there's a lingo sheet. It's really well thought out, like all the stuff around it to make it feel very immersive and stuff. So if you're like struggling to think about like, oh, what would my character look like? What kind of fashions would it be? What kind of words and terminology would it say? There's all these free additional supplements that come with it. So I'd highly recommend checking those out as well. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to like be able to input them properly, and for whatever reason I can't show you in this version of Adobe. Who knows, I'm sure there's an easy way. It's too late, we're on stream now. So anyway, first of all, look at this beautiful cover. It's gorgeous, adorable. I would like this as a postcard. The end. Maybe you did have postcards for the Kickstart. What I will say though, obviously you got the wonderful sort of protagonist there. There's a dog as well, all good stuff. In the corner though, if I zoom in a little bit, I don't know if you see off to the corner, there seems to be a broken down car. Interesting, worrying. Why is that? Yes, because I will definitely say it is definitely very slapstick in places, this game. It gets that sort of vibe out as well. It also, it encourages people to do the scenes, make big moves and stuff like that, which I absolutely love. But if you're playing this for the first time, in the sense of if you're brand new to roleplay, perhaps, or role-playing games in general, then maybe I don't know, maybe it might be a bit intimidating compared to other games which are a bit more structured. That said, I do think the system's really good. It's roughly 80 pages, which isn't, it's not too long for a normal core book, I will say, but it is packed full of stuff. So let's have a look. Fleur and Chelsea Sciratino are the writers and the creators of it. Oh, look, they've got some, they're not canaries. Budgies? No, I can't remember. They're all over London, though. And, look at that. This is the inside of the book. So I believe it is this sort of rectangular shaped book, definitely more landscape than portrait, when you get the actual book, which is really cool, actually. I really like that. Anyway, look at this. The other thing as well, this PDF is all bookmarked and linked. This is my favourite. Thank you so much. So what we've got, it's free. Oh, no, we're going to zoom in. That's not what I wanted at all. So there are 7 chapters in total, leading up to the 80 pages. So we've got getting acquainted, casting the show, because it actually pitches this as like a Jeeves and Wooster kind of show. How do you get your archetype, how to create your characters, so to speak, setting the stage, what is, creating a social club, so the theme that you're all around. Peccadillo, which is the actual setting of where this Flabbergasted is. I want to look at it a little bit. I don't want to take too much time of it, although it's only 8 pages, so maybe we'll have a quick look at it as well, because I think it's pretty cool. So I'm putting it together, so again, talking about how the director, that's what you're called as the GM in this, you're called the director, putting things around, and some game mechanics for the director as well, so that's the stuff we definitely want to be looking into. And then writing the script, so look at that, 70 story hooks, blooming hell. And then some pre-written campaigns, we won't look at those, because want to leave some mystery for folks. And then other odds and so on. Oh, so maybe it's, perfect. It's here as well. All of a sudden, tell you what, I'm going to jump ahead to chapter 7 then, so I can show you these actual images and stuff. So let's go adopt the lingo. So so you get, you can print out a page like this and give it to your players. I love this at the bottom, by the way, the sort of the way it sort of shows, chapter 3, chapter 4, etc. And they are all linked as well. So let's have a quick look at the lingo, pick up some of the phrases. Stuff like Cheez-It. Cheddar, money, dewdropper is lollygagger. Oh, what a great word. Hijinks, hornswoggle, to dupe, swindle, and fool. Very cool. Whoopee, ritzy, packing heat, patsy, feather in your cap. Oh, so there you go. So not only have you got one word phrases, but you've got actual one-off words, but you've also got phrases as well. That's a badger. Tooting the wrong ringer. A sandwich short of a picnic. Obviously, we've heard of that as well. Oh, I quite like that. It's not totally like, they're an idiot or anything like that. They're not all right in the head. That's quite cool. That clearly has been written in a really good way. So, don't take any wooden nickels. Don't fall for any cons or swindles. Very cool. I love the style of it as well. Like I will say the typography is really it's really stunning. I think it's very eye catching, and so you got the slang and you got the phrase as well. Some of the most surefire ways for players to earn a lucky coin, which is a mechanic in the game, is to make a hullabaloo and yelling some utter gobbledygook. We've curated some of our favourite words in the coming pages. Some are 1920s specific turns of phrases, while others are more whimsical words to capture the sense of high society nonsense. Oh, that's good. So it's not like, you didn't say it. It's not really 1920s slang. Look, it's at the bottom. You can click next page as well. Oh, God, they've really thought about accessibility on this. Fantastic. Also, more fanciful words here as well. Here you'll find words that are either overly verbose, a little bit whimsical, or words that are sadly not in use anymore. Oh, there's certainly accoutrements. Beautiful. Love that. So yeah, so even if you weren't going to use if you weren't going to use the setting of Peccadillo, if you weren't going to use Flabbergasted as your system, I love this. It's just written out in such a way that if you were going to do a setting or you're going to do a set story in this kind of world, that you've got all these words to help people get into the lingo. Because I think sometimes people get really scared of like not having the right vernacular or the right terminology to refer to things. Certainly, I've noticed if you do lots of sci-fi and lots of improv around sci-fi, people go, I can't think of any like scientific like words or things. I always say just stick a number at the end of whatever you're trying to say, and Bob's your uncle. Literally, that's the fanciful word it uses. What other ones we got? Flabbergasted. That's quite cute. It says Flabbergasted for that entry is surprise or astonish, and also a great game. Some words for nonsense. Bunkum. Fiddle faddle. Tommy Rock. I think maybe I should just do a channel where I just record all these words and you can use them as like a soundboard. Rapscallion. I'm having fun. Next you have dressed to the nines. So these are like the kinds of sort of men and women's clothing perhaps that you could describe as well. And this was these were some of the images that I would get that you could get and then hand out to people. Again, gorgeous. And it looks like it's done in the style that you would have seen like if they handed out leaflets and stuff. Like this is like an actual 1920s like sort of magazine perhaps that you could pull, like you could print out and give to people, which I love. What good hats. There's some good hat game going on here. And oh god, there's a whole thing on hats here. And there's one for male presenting folks as well, and some accessories. Very, very cool. Here, yes, and so they have menus and drinks as well. So I love it. I love how it's just presented, this sort of information to get people in it. Because again, you shouldn't assume people know all these things, and like you want to get them excited as well. Although I will say that dinner menu is tiny. Let me try and read what it says. What would Sir or Madam like today? I think I would like to go for the cheese souffle with the broiled chicken. Yes, snowballs. Sounds delicious. Celery stuffed with pimento cheese. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Sadly, that's not what I'm having for dinner. And giggle water. Get your giggle water. This is the other thing as well, is that I guess you could... it says here that you can like, or you got a nifty guide for 6 of the most popular drinks. If you like something non-alcoholic, get yourself a tonic water or soda. You can also stick to classic and order yourself a piping hot cup of tea or Java. But again, this could easily be like, okay, we're going to play a game of Flabbergasted. We're going to bring food, and then these are kind of snacks you can bring, and then you can bring, you can make the drinks as well whilst you're playing. I'm all for anything that is about immersion on this point. Some table generators as well. We love tables, and then all the it's so sweet. All the acknowledgements for the backers as well. That's very cool. All right. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to jump ahead, but I just thought, I'll just check that out. Great. All right, let's start with chapter 1, and I'm just gonna zoom in and just gosh, what a beautiful, like, look at these. It's so vibrant. The colours are so vibrant. And it's really, again, it has that very cartoonish sort of style. Like, I could watch like a whole Netflix series or an animation series based on these characters, right? Very, very cool. But, of course, as always, let's enhance the writing so I can actually blooming see what's going on. Welcome, dear reader, to the hijinks world of Flabbergasted, narrative-driven and rules-light tabletop RPG set in the Roaring Twenties. Comedic scenarios and light-hearted adventures are at the heart of Flabbergasted, drawing inspiration from the madcap comedies such as Jeeves and Wooster and Fawlty Towers. In this game, you'll embark on all manner of marvellous misadventures. You'll fend off dastardly debitors, concoct it's like a limerick, not limerick, it's like a tongue twister. Concoct cantankerous capers, navigate scandalous soirees, prevent misguided marriages, and partake in a smorgasbord of other alliterative adventures. To play Flabbergasted, you need 3 to 5 players and a director, which is the game's version of a games master. They'll take on the roles of the protagonist or playable characters. You will take on either the aristocrat, the well-to-do, the bohemian, or staff. Those are the 4 things I've just already said. Together, you'll create and partake in a social club of your own design in the city of Peccadillo. Day-to-day life as a club member will be filled with attending soirees and compulsory family luncheons, trying to secure new members and sponsorships through any means possible, attempting to trounce public challenges and many more activities. Flabbergasted follows the structure of a similar to an episodic TV series. Your games will take it in the form of episodes, which might take multiple sessions to complete. Together, all these episodes will form part of your season. I like this. Again, I think maybe using this sort of like vernacular or terminology means that, okay, could I do like a limited series on a network, on a actual play network, which follows this sort of thing, and then you could follow the same characters or do something different. So instantly I'm like, oh, that's quite cool. It's trying to get me into doing streaming for this. This episodic nature allows for a fast-paced style of play and allows you to explore various adventures. You could pull a wealth of episode setups from the protagonist, the social club, and the cities of Peccadillo. Some episodes will focus on a protagonist's dilemma, whilst others deal with societies, clubs, public challenges, or big trouble. You might even deal with a secret society or two. What you'll need to play, friends, yes, I think we have some of those somewhere. Dice, we recommend 4 to 8 D6s per player, writing materials, character sheets, social club sheets, NPC cards, a few coins, any will do. Okay, D6 system. Playing online. This document is created with online play in mind. It is fully hyperlinked, thank you, and orientated to fit better on screens. All player sheets are editable as well. Hooray! We recommend using a shared virtual platform like Discord or Roll20, Foundry, etc., where you may video chat and share each other's sheets. What's this? Images and documents with this button means you can directly download them. It makes them easier to send to your players. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Accessibility, thank you. If you're the director, read this document all the way through before you begin your first game. The mechanics are easy to pick up for the beginners because they focus on narration and storytelling above all else. Because our game is roleplay heavy, you may feel like certain things have been outlined and others have been left to your interpretation. This is intentional. You're allowed to, and in fact are supposed to, make it up along the way. Ultimately, this is how you create a fun and engaging story for your players. After reading, you may still have doubts how this game will play out, especially if this is your first role-playing game. That's okay. You're not expected to remember all the rules and get them right the first time. Our best advice is to dive in and start playing. Things will start to click in no time. Super, super. Oh, and then on the side we've got a role-playing example. Fantastic. We don't need to look at that. That's all right. Oh, I completely missed this side of the page. So this is all about what is role-playing. That's all good. But I wanted to see if there's anything particular about this. So, right, I'm going to read this bit here. Once all the players have a basic understanding of what story they'd like to play, they will create a character that will star in the story. In Flabbergasted, we call those characters protagonists. During play, players will control the protagonist, decide what they do and say, and interact with the world as their protagonist would, not as themselves. To make it even more fun, they can act as their protagonist. Yes. They should have some sort of relationship with each other. It can be anything from a friendly relationship to an antagonistic one. All protagonists will be part of the same social club in Flabbergasted, so there's a good reason for them to already know each other. Despite any differences there may be between them, they're all working towards a common goal as part of a team. All the protagonist details, such as name, background traits, and more, are noted down on one sheet of paper. This is the character sheet. Yeah, alright, cool. Alright, I will zoom out a little bit because I am going to miss so much every single time. One time. Oh, so there's some recommended watching already at the beginning. That's great. So yeah, anything by P.G. Wodehouse. Very good. The Carry On Jeeves, The Joy of Morning are some of our personal favourites. The Intimidable Jeeves. Downton Abbey. Oh, upstairs, downstairs, and north and south. That's for the social dynamic of the working class. Oh, that's quite cool. So not only is it like, it's because it does base a little bit on class because of that fourth class being the staff. So absolutely. Also recommends Bright Young Things, Brideshead Revisited, and The Great Gatsby for examples of lifestyle of idle, rich socialites. Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries and the works of Agatha Christie are great references if you want to add a murder mystery flavour to your game. Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries is cracking. I highly recommend it. That's on Netflix. I've watched quite a lot of that. It's like an Australian show, murder mystery show, and it's great. Absolutely cracking. That's all I have to say, it's cracking. Watch Fawlty Tower's Black Books, Allo, and Blackadder to get the madcap flavour of British comedy. Very true. Oh, Black Books is so cracking as well. Just a shame the person who reads it is just a shame that the person who wrote it is rubbish, and we shouldn't support his work. Okay, so social club. Cool. You will create an up-and-coming social club to cultivate a society standing and navigate your way through all manner of misadventures, from riotous parties to elegant soirees. Flabbergasted is not a game of high-stake battles and saving the world from monsters or intergalactic threats. It is a game of social situations and misunderstandings gone awry. A comedy of manners that poke fun at society conventions of so-called sophisticated society. The social club framing of this game also makes it a story about rivalries and petty one-upmanships as you rally behind your club and lead it through feuds, debts, pranks, close shaves, and other absurd situations. The city of Peccadillo, a location primarily inspired by London, which is an amalgamation of different cities. Like all cities, it has its distinct districts, from quiet suburbs to glitzy, fashionable districts to seedy locales. Peccadillo is a port city buzzing with activity and exciting experiences at any hour of the day. Take a stroll through the city to discover its colourful residents, exciting entertainment venues, diverse art galleries, and vibrant nightlife. There's more to explore beyond Peccadillo as well. Explore the coastal islands off of Peccadillo, or take a trip down south for beach getaways. You can venture out into the provincial countryside, where you will find both quaint little villages as well as grand country homes and estates for where there is much opportunity and mischief to be had. Oh, very good. Flabbergasted is set in a world very similar to our 1920s, also known as the Roaring Twenties. This time was a period of dramatic change socially, culturally, scientifically, and artistically. Technology is booming, jazz is blossoming, and the future has never seemed so bright. During this time, technology rapidly advanced, giving people more personal freedom and easier access to entertainment. Automobiles, aviation, telephones, and electrical appliances radically changed lives, whilst films and radios gave rise to celebrities and gossip rags. Hey, Dead Toothbrush over on Twitch. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? You've come at just the right time. I'm going through sort of the main intro of Flabbergasted, this the comedy RPG. So welcome, I hope you're doing alright. Beyond the introduction of new technology, people's attitudes and lifestyles were also changing. The aristocracy saw a decline in prominence, with both their lavish households and staff reducing dramatically in size. Opportunities for new careers and business meant the wealth gap started to equalise. This period was the advent of a booming nightlife, as free time, personal wealth, and widespread electricity made it staying out late possible. Young people felt liberated and could dance, drink, and party to their heart's content. And over here it says, not even the prohibition could slow them down. Not in Peccadillo. This period of cultural change paved the way for captivating new art and literature, with the ease of travel allowing artists to move between cities and find kinship in new artistic circles. Oh, always have to have a note on historical accuracy. Whilst this game is set in the 1920s, we want everyone to have a jolly good time and not to worry about being historically accurate. It is greatly inspired by the history and cities of the 1920s, but this game is not fixed in any place or moment in time. Beyond that, we want you to create any character you want without concern for any prejudice or discrimination. Here. Absolutely. I'm going to zoom out a bit as well. Peccadillo Daily. The tone. Improving your improv. Ah. Did somebody say improv? So Flabbergasted is narrative-first collaborative role-playing game focusing on light-hearted drama and highly comedic situations. This game isn't about having the strongest or having the best character. What's the point of playing role-playing games then? Am I right? Nor is it about having a perfectly executed plan and saying the right thing every single time. It's about imperfect characters with flaws, unique quirks, and embarrassing tendencies. Oh, damn, I've been seen. It's about the joy of discovering what might happen if you just wing it and go with your first half-baked idea. Flabbergasted also takes an irreverent approach towards social class. There is a lot of fun to be had in indulging the grandiosity of nobility and wealth, and in serving an arrogant snob a satisfying slice of humble pie, and then in brackets, preferably to the face. But is it all fun and games? Is there any room in Flabbergasted for sad and dramatic moments? Yes, absolutely. In fact, we encourage mixing the moments of serious character development in with the mayhem and nonsense. As we all know, some of the best comedies have delivered some of the most gut-wrenching and emotional scenes. And it's going to talk about failing forward. Yes, we know what failing forward is. Improving or improv. Let's go see that. What is this some rules? I know. Yes. Here's a few useful tips and concepts to keep in mind. I'll be honest, like sometimes in role-playing games when you read the quick starts for that, it doesn't really tell people, it just says, oh, just have fun. And I think people are like, what does that mean? Am I not having fun right now? They made a book about you. They did. I feel very seen. I do think it's kind of useful just to like have something like this, because certainly improv rules as well, they can be a little bit abstract as well. You're like, yes, and what do I just say? Yes, and then and. So it's always good to have this and a little bit of explanation. So I'm always fans of this. So yes, and don't shut a player's idea down, at least not outrightly. Try and run with their idea and build on it, and maybe bounce suggestions back and forth. If an idea doesn't work in your opinion, feel free to disagree, but offer up other suggestions that won't completely invalidate theirs. It's all about keeping the action and conversation going. Maybe my work should hear this one. Use physicality and go big with personality. If you want a character with a defined personality, go big on a few key traits. Fast talker, overly confident, eccentric, theatrical. Embody some of those traits through physicality to help you get into character. If a character is formal and precise, sit upright with folded hands. Maybe folded arms, folded hands. Or if they're prone to dramatics, use your hands to highlight what you are saying and use exaggerated expressions. Highlight other players. Be aware of yourself and your group to ensure no one is hogging too much attention. Some players will naturally gravitate towards the spotlight, but be considerate and give other players a chance to shine. Ask for their opinion or include them directly in a scene. Pay attention to what's going on. Be respectful of other players, director, or otherwise. Listen to what's happening, even if it doesn't affect you directly at that moment. Having to ask what just happened only a few minutes ago because you weren't attentive halts the gameplay. The more you know what's going on in the game, the more material you have to utilize and call back. I mean, I know this sounds really obvious. I make so many notes when I like little notes on a sticky note as I'm listening and stuff like that. And I might just do it for like the first 10 minutes, but actually it's very helpful for me to focus and stuff. And then once you get into character and you're bouncing off people, it's really good. At the same time, though, I don't think there's a problem with asking questions. Just saying like, really sorry, could you just describe the room again? Or wait, is that correct? You know, like just asking those questions, because the game master won't be annoyed really, because sometimes it is about, you know, them also giving that communication as well. So that's good. Some comedic improv ideas here, so don't judge your own ideas, focus on one type of humour at a time, and embrace failure and fail big. One thing I'd also say as well is that don't do an action for a cheap laugh. Like, if you can see, like, oh, this is going somewhere, lean into it hard, but don't, if somebody, you know, like, don't try and do it to get that cheap laugh. Don't, like, cut the scene or, like, suddenly break the scene because you've done you're like, oh, I've seen a witty joke or a pun or something like that. Puns are really hard. Sometimes you're like, no, and then you go back into it. Like, it is what it is, but I always find that if you do that, it does cheapen the scene a little bit, and maybe like it sort of breaks that immersion, that sort of connection you have with the other players if you sort of undermine something that they've done for a joke that you get the laugh on, so to speak. All right. So it's going to go over all this information again, isn't it? So, but it talks about sort of principles for each thing. Oh, gosh. There you go. So we've got director, protagonist, social club, and playing an episode. And here it's sort of got the... Oh, that's quite cool. So it's sort of got an example here. Tell you what, I'll zoom in a little bit. So yeah, so an example of what a season would look like. So that would be like the overarching, like, couple of sessions, and then each episode, each sort of storyline, I guess, is sort of self-contained in each session. So it could be up to 4 sessions, it could be just 2 sessions. It's interesting, it's split off there. Maybe that's just, I don't know, that's quite an interesting one. But cool, so here the director, we said before, that's this game's version of the Game Master. Collaboration's at the heart, so here's some principles. So capturing the setting of Flabbergasted, play all the characters except for the protagonist. Maintain the game's structure and pacing by adding drama, consequences, and adventure. Keep the tone light-hearted and comedic by honouring the concept of failing forward. So yeah, no matter what, even if the protagonists are rolling rubbish, they still succeed a little bit, like the story still moves on. They're not going to be stuck behind that locked door for forever. Doors are our greatest enemies. Protagonists, these are the player characters. Their job is to create an interesting character for others to interact with and one they will enjoy playing. They will see the protagonist grow and change, build friendships, and destroy enemies. Overcoming challenging situations and discover what is truly important to them. They hold a lot of narrative control. So here's some examples. So portray your protagonist's personalities and characteristics. Collaborate with other protagonists and build relationships with them. Work with the director to pursue your objectives. Plan your success and failures. Overcome your dilemma. Cultivate a reputation. Come up with ideas for interesting and funny scenarios. I think interesting is fine, you don't need to be funny. And keep a track of your own character sheet. Easy, easy. And then the social club. So this serves as a place for like-minded individuals to meet together and share in common interests, foster camaraderie, and get up to some good-hearted and sometimes illegal fun. Woohoo! Think of this club as your home away from home, free from the nagging parents, noisy neighbours, and overbearing in-laws. Whoa, where can I sign up? Unlike the historical... I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Even though I've got my new glasses on, I still struggle a little bit. Wow. Unlike the historic social clubs of the real world, those in Flabbergasted aren't filled with classist old gas bags mingling in a parlour club and drinking whiskey over the discourse of politics. No! In Flabbergasted, social clubs are for individuals from all walks of life who want to share their passions and interests with friends, no matter how eccentric those interests may be. The protagonists will create and design their new social club, starting with a theme for their club, and as they play throughout the game, they will cultivate a reputation for the club and help it grow in renown. This will help them upgrade the club and grow membership. Along the way, they will prank rival clubs, compete in tournaments, and participate in club challenges, or public challenges, and sometimes save their club from utter ruin. Ultimately, the goal of the club, I keep saying pub, it's because I'm putting public and club together, is to prove the public that their club is the best. I can tell you from the one shot I was a part of, our club was about herbs. Birds. Gosh, clearly going into the office today has absolutely done my head in. Brilliant. Cool. Let's move on a little bit. Playing an episode. We've kind of talked about the episode being sessions, so that's okay. An episode that is one complete short story, much like an episode of TV, can consist of many sessions, which refers to the hours spent around the table playing with friends or online. Typically, it follows a 3-act structure. The opening, the show, and the closing credits. We offer suggestions for each act, starting with the recap and downtime, and then introducing the conflict, playing the main episode, and ending with the aftermath and cliffhanger. It will be expanded on in Chapter 5. All good stuff. Cool. Casting the show. Okay. Very good. Before you can get up to all matter of shenanigans and other tomfoolery, great words, you need a protagonist. 4 archetypes, aristocrat, bohemian, well-to-do, and staff. This chapter will walk you through the steps to fill in and understand everything in the character sheet and create your protagonist. Each archetype has a unique character sheet, so make sure you fill in the correct sheet for your chosen archetype. That's very cool. That is very cool. Like it is, you feel quite special as well, so you can do things that your other players at the table won't be able to do. For the first-time players, if you read through the archetypes for the first time, you might not understand certain terms like scene cues and social standing. Don't worry about these just yet. Just read the overview for each archetype and get a feel for what you want to play. Terminology regarding the sheet and the protagonist will be explained as you follow the steps and fill in the sheet. Cool. Alright, so just looking at the 12 steps here. It's not too long a step, thankfully. So yeah, choose the archetype. Easy enough, one of those 4. Name them, what their age is, pick a profession or title, note down that your relationship status, write a short physical description, pick a memento, pick a flaw, create your dilemma, describe your background, pick your starting scene cues, assign character traits, and give yourself readies. So a lot of that is quite flavoursome, easy sort of background stuff. So realistically, I don't say this taking any longer than 10-15 minutes. And I think this is the sort of thing as well, just from my own experience, is that once you've all agreed that, hey, do we all want to play like the same protagonist type? The same archetype, or do we all want to share? Once that's sorted, then I think you could just do it by yourself. You don't need to necessarily do it at your session 0, but always worth looking. And then the rest of the chapter walks us through the remaining elements, such as social standing, lucky coin, status, including injuries, and nicknames. Okay, cool. So here we go. The aristocrat, staff, well-to-do, bohemians. We won't read too much into the scene cues for these, but scene cues are like special abilities. They're stuff that are very unique to your character, and when you do the sort of downtime, not upgrade, admin, you can you can expand on your scene cue, you can get new ones, etc. Might as well start with the first one. Whoop, she says. Oh look, and you can download the character sheet just then and there. Fantastic. And you've got some examples of names and titles and estate names, for example. So the aristocrats, their primary stat is going to be something called culture and etiquette. We'll get onto that in a second. And starting ready, so that's the money, the currency that you have there. And readies is like the thing here, although it's a bit superfluous from what I remember. The currency is like, everybody's talking about like, oh, it's going to cost you 4.5 readies. It's nothing like that. Like it's definitely a bit more like flexible in that terms, but 80 readies is obviously quite a lot for an aristocrat. So let's read the overview. So, as the aristocrat, you come from a titled family with all the associated wealth and comfort. Perhaps you are the second child of a baron, freed from the responsibilities of the firstborn, while still enjoying a life all of the pampering and luxury. Are still enjoying all of the pampering and luxury that comes with the title. Or maybe you're just insufferably nosy aunt is a duchess, and through her generosity you are given a substantial monthly allowance to fund your lavish lifestyle. To be one of the aristocracies, I'll get there eventually, is to want for nothing. You have a fleet of attendants at your beck and call. Life for you is downing mint juleps over a game of... Oh, what on earth is that? A game of baccarat? Baccarat? I've never heard of that game. Or spreading salacious gossip over tea and scones. When creating an aristocrat, you need to pick a family name, an estate, and a titled relation. Cool. And then you would select 4 scene cues for when you're creating your protagonist. You get quite a lot of different scene cues, I'd say, as well. Let's just pick... I can see one at the top that says, "Don't you know who I am?" Name drop your family title to either impress or intimidate. You throw about your social standings shamelessly to convince others of your lies and intimidate them into doing your bidding, or get them to overlook a misdeed plus scandal. What I quite like is that there's examples of how you would use each scene cue underneath. So if you're like, I'm not too sure how to do it, it gives you an example, which is really cool. Dazzling performance. You pick one instrument that you're very proficient in, and you give an incredible performance, which is a plus dignity. Interesting. And we'll come on to like what that means in a second as well. But basically you will have like a little reputation bar at the bottom of your character sheet. Think of Red Dead Redemption 2. Stuff you do that is like sort of scandalous goes one way, things that you do for dignity goes another way, and I believe stuff happens at either end. I'm not entirely sure what though, so that's very good. Alright, second page. Oh, so yeah, you get, she says trying to show everything. So yeah, you get quite a lot of scene cues for it. Oh, there's a corgi! Oh, excellent, this game's already great. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 different scene cues. So you can easily get a very customizable protagonist when you're playing this game, which is really good actually. And you pick 4 of them to begin with when you're the aristocrat. Very good. Alright, moving on to staff. Enhance. To play one of the staff is to be part of the growing service industry. You take great pride in your work and the ability to be self-reliant. As the staff, you can take on a role within a prominent, in brackets, typically aristocratic household, be employed by a business or work independently and to maintain your own clients. As a household staff member, you will be provided accommodation within the household or its grounds, along with your salary. Your role, whatever it may be, will also require you to look sharp, be constant vigilance, to rescue your hapless employer from any troubles, and to anticipate their needs before they could even conceive they need them. You can take a job within the city, work as a concierge, one of the newly sprouted skyrisers, or work in the department store, touting the latest fashions. Touting. You could also operate independently as a tutor or a dressmaker whose talents are greatly sought after. Whatever your position, you're good at helping others and solving their problems, even if you aren't obliged to do so. What will everyone else do without your guiding help? So that's cool. So you're not trapped to this sort of stereotype that you might have of staff being like you are attached to somebody and you are like their butler, etc. Literally, there's some examples. There's some household occupations. And some other occupations as well. That's very good. That's quite nice. So your primary characteristic is wit and sharp. Is wit and sharp on that one. And again, we'll come on to this as well. And then select 4 scene cues. Well, we've got unflappable is that first one there. Let's have a read of that one. Your years of working with different employers and customers means you have endured your fair share of tantrums and threats. Through your experience, you know how to keep your cool and stand your ground. You can't be intimidated. Very good. Yes. Let's see. Ooh, what's that one? The walls have ears. Down in the underground. Down in the service quarters and break rooms, gossip spreads like wildfire. You can pick up any rumours or secrets that you hear from the grapevine. Alternatively, you can use this to start a rumour and let it spread. Very cool. So yeah, again, so these scene cues, they're a way to like initiate something very narrative and to the point. And I guess having these sort of like, and basically it happens. They're just like, I'm going to use this ability, and you check off when it happens. It'll tell us when we read it later. So that's really cool. Like you, rather than like I'm going to roll for it as well, you could be like, oh, but I could do this, and so I can add to the story, and I might already be successful at it. You know. So I quite like that. Great. I'm gonna move on to the next one, number 3, which is the well-to-do. The well-to-do playbook. Their primary character trait is bravado and persuasion, and they start with 60 readies. The well-to-do is a salaried person of substantial income who's climbing up the social ladder, hoping to earn their place side by side with the gentry. As a well-to-do, you take pride in your independence, resolve, and bold nature. You may have come into wealth in 2 ways. You either worked your way up the ladder into a prestigious position, or you inherited great wealth where you were given the freedom to explore your own interests and schooling. A high salaried position could be anything from entrepreneur to politician, to doctor to archaeologist. Very good. And then CQs, select 4. Let's go for, what's Lucky Break? Ooh. Lucky Break. Luck has always been on your side. Even when something goes bad, you can usually find a way to make it work for you. You automatically succeed on a failed roll of your choice. Describe how, despite your failure, you managed to come out on top. Nice. Very good. Look at I am the law. You are well versed in the rules of law and know how to wield this knowledge to your advantage. Impress and intimidate with your legalers. It's your knowledge, whilst finding loopholes to get you out of unfavourable situations. Oh, and there's another cute dog. This game's got dogs. Headstrong. I'm going to read that one. Headstrong. Everyone knows to steer clear of you when an argument is breaking out. You can win any argument and come out on top. If you believe strongly in something, no one can make you change your mind. Plus scandal. Very good. All right, and then finally, this is the archetype that I played, was the Bohemian in our game. Primary character trait is creativity and passion. You start with 50 readies. And there's some examples of occupation there. I found this really useful, actually, because I was like, what are Bohemians? Because all I ever think about is, like, Rent. Or Moulin Rouge. I was like, those aren't helpful. Those aren't helpful examples. wanderers, adventurers, and vagabonds. Eternally in the pursuit of music, art, liberty, and love, Bohemians have chosen to abandon the mainstream and disdain materialism. Instead, they embrace a free-spirited lifestyle with other kindred spirits. They're essentially your sensitive artist type. Bohemians range wildly from a powerful vocalist looking to make it to the main stage, a misunderstood poet, a painter looking for their next muse, or a travelling trapeze artist seeking excitement and enlightenment. All good stuff. Wax poetic. That sounds like a cool scene cue. Let's have a read of that one. Ooh. You tend to be overly verbose and dramatic when you speak. Depending with whom you're speaking, they can either be very charmed or completely drained by the end of it. That's incredible. I like that. So yeah, I guess they don't necessarily mean you succeed straight away, but it's a nice way to add something to the scene you're in. It's another dog. Excellent. Good taste. Let's have a read of that one. Ooh, good taste. You offer your aesthetic perspective, whether it was asked for or not. Your advice is invaluable to make something infinitely more appealing, plus dignity. Excellent, excellent. Well, those are the 4 archetypes that we can play, so that's all good. Whoop. So, looking at the steps to create the characters. So, preferably, there is a variation of chosen archetypes amongst the players. Each archetype is unique with their own skill set, and all are equally important in contributing to the social club. So, all good. So, you could all be well-to-do if you like, but it's quite nice to have a bit of a variety. Come up with a name and age. Give your protagonist an appropriately or ridiculous dignified name and pick their age. Have a title and a state when playing an aristocrat, or a profession and occupation when playing a well-to-do bohemian or staff. Relationship. Are you single, in a relationship, married, widowed, or is it complicated? Include your protagonist's relationship here. If there is a significant other for your protagonist, include the name and the space provided on your character sheet. Oh, there's 2 dogs there as well. Make sure the director knows about this character in game so they can work them in during play. I mean, it's quite nice to have something like that. Say, oh, the name of the partner, my ex-partner is Jasmine or Geraldine or something like that. So then I can be like, cool, they're definitely going to appear at some point. Just gives me something to work off rather than just be like, this is someone that you loved previously. Like, oh, okay, great. House of Stripes says, I think I found my archetype. Offer aesthetic advice even when I'm not asked for. Sadly, I think anyone that creates actual play content is a bohemian. Or staff. Depends if we get paid for it, I guess. Description. Write out any distinctive features for your protagonist here. So again, very flavoursome. That's all good. Ooh. Mementos, sorry. As you're out and out in Peccadillo, you may come across a unique item you might want to keep, whether it's because it's integral to your protagonist or because it's an item that reminds you of a person or a fond memory. When you have an item like this, you may keep it under mementos. They have no gameplay functions, but they are there for narrative purposes. You start the game with 1 memento of your choice. This could be anything from a packet of cigarettes, a guitar, quite different those, a family signet ring, or anything your protagonist holds dear. There is no limit to how many mementos you can collect and carry with you. Simply discuss. You see, whilst that's cool, I would like it so that they add something to it. Like, if you're collecting these mementos, if it's like, oh well, I've got a necklace that my grandmother gave me, if you're going to use it in a scene, I think you could then have like a +1 or a re-roll or something, like advantage on the roll or something like that. Because otherwise it's like, yeah, it's a nice flavoursome thing. But I don't know. I'm always a big fan of like, oh, you've used this thing that you had on your character sheet, get a +1 to that or roll with advantage. I just think that's just a lot easier. This is one example of what the character sheets look like, by the way. I appreciate it's only a half one there, but they are gorgeous. I absolutely love how those little boxes they come in, and with the font type as well. And you can download it here as well. Free downloads. Floor. Oh. Sigh. Assign your protagonist a main flaw or vice. No colourful character is complete without a few quirks. Use your flaw as a reminder to how to portray your protagonist. The director might also steer your protagonist, into these sticky situations where they have fun and exploit your flaw. If you have overcome your flaw or don't seem to reference it throughout the scene, you may pick another one. Just let the director know. So, there you go. Here's some examples. So, again, this is included as a separate sheet that you can give to your players. Ghastly gossip. You just can't help yourself. There's some juicy gossip to be shared. Well, that's me. Drama queen, hello. You react to every situation in a melodramatic way, or maybe everyone else is just underreacts. Oh, very good. Where's the one that I had? I think I was a show off. I think I had a show off as mine. Was you have a myriad of achievements, possessions, and accomplishments. So why not show them off? So again, I quite like it. If people play into that, I might give them a lucky coin, which is that's the mechanic that you get for like, oh, have a go again, have a re-roll, etc. So at least that's what I've seemed to remember it being. And then a dilemma. Pick a dilemma. A dilemma is an all-consuming burden that is a current fixture in your protagonist's life, and at some point, sooner rather than later, they will have to address it. The dilemma should be a facet of your protagonist that will be fun and interesting to explore throughout the season. The director will introduce scenarios throughout the game which will provide an opportunity for you to resolve your dilemma. Here's some examples. All good. So let's see. Ricardo has a string of scandalous relationships with most of the household staff. Ricardo. As a nephew to an earl, this could ruin his family's reputation if the word gets out. The previous employee is blackmailing Ricardo and claiming that they have evidence that could possibly ruin him. How will he deal with this? Maybe by not having relationships with the staff. Just a thought. A background. Whilst your selected archetype will describe who your character is, your background will describe your upbringing and what events led you to be where you are today. Are you an art prodigy who's being overlooked? A firstborn noble seeking out distance from the life he was forced to lead? Or perhaps a dressmaker doing whatever it takes to secure a prominent client? Essentially, your background is just a big old dollop of flavour to add to your character. Oh, all good stuff. Again, it just sort of, I kind of like that. Goes, hey, this is kind of important. Like, let's flesh your character out a little bit, but just gives a paragraph or so. So that's really good. Okay, let's look at scene cues. So these are abilities that allow you to influence a scene towards a specific direction. They do not require a roll to accomplish, but have limited use. They can only be used 1 to 3 times a session and only refreshed at the start of a new session. So rather than like this, so you can still use them in the same episode or the same season. It's just, each session can only have a number of uses, which is quite good to know. The only certainty with your scene cues is the short description that immediately follows. The way the scene cue is implemented is up to your interpretation and imagination. If the director agrees to it being used in that scenario, it is successful. However, even though the scene cue was successfully executed, it doesn't mean it's necessarily a positive outcome. Come on. There you go. That was weird. So that's an example of it being used there. So you cross it off between 1 to 3 sessions. So that's good to know. When you've selected a scene cue, fill in the circle beside it. So this is on the character sheet. Next, trace the outline of the first box. For every additional use, you have upgraded the outline box. Oh yeah, so when you start out, you'll only have one of those boxes, and then with the downtime, with the admin, you can start to upgrade the other boxes. Again, quite cool. I like that. Very straightforward, and maybe visually quite appeasing. Or pleasing isn't appeasing. When you've used the scene cue during play, mark off one of your available boxes. They get refreshed at the end of every session. 4 scene cues are selected when creating a new protagonist. Each archetype has its own unique scene cues to choose from, found on the character sheets and on the previous archetype pages. You may pick any combination of scene cues to match your protagonist's background and personality. You may get to select more scene cues as you upgrade your protagonist. Another thing to note is that some scene cues will affect your social standing. Woo, woo, woo. These are written at the end of each scene cue description. You may either add +1 scandal or +1 to dignity, or not affect your social standing at all. Read more about it in the next couple of pages. Cool. Character traits. Here we go. They give you structure to various qualities, and you'll find 4 character traits. Oh, so these are the actual stats. I remember now, yes. So we have bravado and persuasion even, culture and etiquette, wit and sharp, creativity and passion. So bravado and persuasion. This is reflective of the protagonist's confidence and show of strength, as well as their ability to convince all around them of their surety. You may use this trait to try and persuade the cops to arrest your rival instead of you. Perhaps you're trying to use your trying to loudly voice your complaints at the theatre in the hopes that your entrance fee will be waived off. Culture and etiquette reflects how well read and how well mannered the protagonist is, and whether or not their salad fork, whether or not they know their salad fork from their dessert fork. Perhaps you're at a dinner trying to draw all eyes on you with your impeccable manners, or you'll need to give an a great speech to raise a substantial amount for charity. Wit and sharp. This reflects how astute, clever, and quick-thinking the protagonist is. There's a cat. This trait can also be used to show how fastidious and precise they are. Basically, I can say a word like fastidious, but I can't say a word like exemplary. No, I still didn't get it. Even with the run-up, I still didn't get it. You can use this trait to predict your opponent's next move and win your chess game. But maybe you found yourself in a high-speed car chase and using your impeccable recall to navigate some side streets and lose the car behind you. And then finally we've got creativity and passion. This reflects how creative the protagonist is. It can be used to find a creative solution to a problem, share one's aesthetic expression, or put on a good show through a passionate performance. You might use this trait to share your sartorial expertise with a friend and ensure that they are dressed to impress, or give an astounding performance that people will recall for weeks to come. Excuse me. How are we doing on time? Okay, we've got about 45 minutes. So we're getting there. You'll be allocating points into each of the character traits. The more points you have invested in a particular trait, the better you are at it, resulting in a higher chance of success when using the trait. So each point invested represents a 6-sided die, or a d6, and rolling a 5 or a 6 will count as a success. A moderate challenge will require 1 success, a hard challenge will require 2, and a daunting challenge will require 3. So for example, up here, so we've got the example of bravado and persuasion with 3 boxes filled in, so that is going to be 3d6. And if you roll that and you get at least a 5 or a 6, that is a success, which is good. So how do we start? So we start off by assigning 5 character points, or we start off already having 5 character points assigned to our corresponding character sheet. I am an idiot. You start off with 5 character sheets already assigned on your corresponding character sheets. You already had 1 point assigned to each trait, so you can always attempt to roll. The remaining points is assigned to your primary character sheet that's unique to you. So for example here, this is the Bohemians one. All 5 of these are already assigned, and the creative and passion one, that is their primary characteristic. Next, assign 5 additional points to traits of your choice. You may distribute them however you like, except no trait may have more than 4 total points assigned at this time. You may increase this limit through the club upgrades, which we'll look in Chapter 3. So, as we've just sort of said, the primary characteristic, creativity and passion for bohemians, bravo and persuasion for well-to-dos, culture and etiquette for aristocrats, and wit and sharp for staff. These are representative of your upbringing. So all good stuff. Anything up here that we need to read? It doesn't mean we have to prioritize the trait above anything else. You're just good and better at it if you use it. Cool. So there's an example. All good stuff. And then readies, step 12. So we're at the end of it. Readies are the currency in Flabbergasted. With the readies you make in Flabbergasted, you may do a number of different things. They let you upgrade your social club, bribe someone, donate to a charity, or support the arts as a patron. If called for, you could also spend your readies in the narrative scenarios. Perhaps try your luck and bet it all at the racetrack. And who knows, you could just triple your earnings. And then here's the starting readies for our archetypes. And the same amount of readies listed are given out in the closing credits. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Did you know that readies is a term coming from the phrase ready money, referring to readily available cash on hand? Readies was widely used at the turn of the 20th century and makes an appearance in many literacy works that Flabbergasted references, including P.G. Wodehouse's Jeeves and Wooster series. I did not know that. I thought that was made up for the game. Alright, so one of the use of readies is bribery. Think of it as your get out of jail free card. When you're back to the wall with no way out, you could get out with it if you toss enough readies at the problem. The only downside, or upside depending on your desired outcome, is that bribing is seen as, well, it's a bit gauche. With every bribe there is a chance it will affect the With every bribe, there is a chance it will affect a protagonist's social standing. Changes to scandal are in effect immediately after the bribe is done. Ooh, examples of bribes. So a decent bribe is 10 readies. A sizable bribe is 40 plus readies. Ooh, okay, cool. And some examples there. Charity and patronage. Protagonists can make sizable donations or buy expensive art, or both of which will increase their social standing. A sizable donation is 40 readies, and such a donation will give +1 to their dignity. Fewer readies are appreciated by the recipient or beneficiary, of course, but no one around the protagonist cares about small donations. Another way to spend your readies is to invest it in the social club, and certain upgrades will require readies, whilst others will require certain renown, and others will require both. See that in chapter 3 as well. Cool. All good. Alright, and the rest of the stuff that appears on the sheet. So let's talk about the social standing malarkey that keeps coming up. So, a protagonist's primary goal is to cultivate a reputation. Every action the protagonist does is scrutinised and judged by the general public. As you play the game, your social standing will change and you'll either garner a scandalous or a dignified reputation. This is tracked on the social standing tracker found at the bottom of the character sheet. At the start of the game, this tracker begins at 0. Either option is viable. As you progress to either side of the tracker, people in Peccadillo will treat you differently. You may also meet new people, trigger unique events, and receive mysterious invitations. Who knows, you might even max out in dignity and find yourself having tea with the Queen. Reach the heights of scandal or dignity, you may be invited to join the ranks of a secret society, but that is a concern for your director. Oh no. So how does your social standing change? Well, there's certain scene cues that do it. Bribery, as well as the charity and patronage things, and general actions will also affect your social standing, but that's up to the judgment of the director. So yeah, so this is what it looks like on the sheet. This sort of scale. So you start there. I'm just trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yes, it's 10 either way. Ooh. Cool. It didn't really come up too much in our game, I'll be honest, but I guess it over a longer game might make more sense. Lucky Coin. So Lucky Coin is a token awarded to the protagonist by the director for a number of reasons, and is generally related to your playing the protagonist well and embracing the spirit of the game. Reasons for rewarding a Lucky Coin can be either coming up with a creative and entertaining solution to a sticky situation, showing active participation and helping get other protagonists involved. Okay. Making choices that are in line with a protagonist's character and motivations. Making a hilarious contribution, leaving everyone guessing, oh, okay, maybe you can crack a joke then, I don't know. Using overly fanciful vernacular, codswallop, that is wholly appropriate for the setting. Lucky coins can be spent in trying to succeed in a character trait role, so those 4 traits we talked about before. If you don't succeed or need an additional success, flip a lucky coin or tool and call heads or tails. If you call correctly, it counts as a success, and the coin is subsequently spent. Even if you call incorrectly, that coin is still spent. They don't carry over between sessions, and you cannot have more than 3 coins at any one time. I love that. A proper 50-50 chance to get something. I'd love to do it as a physical coin toss as well. But I know you can get coin tosses on Google. Status. Let's look at status. So, combat and risk of death are not part of Flabbergasted. Combat and risk of death are not a part of the Flabbergasted experience. I mean, what's the fun in dying? You can't get up to mischief if you're dead. That said, there are opportunities for bodily harm in the game, but these do not alter gameplay much and are more narrative nuisances. On your sheet, you'll find 3 health conditions. Healthy, which you start every episode with. Scuffed, you look visibly injured, but you can still carry out any actions you normally would. This does not affect any gameplay mechanics. Instead, this status serves as a narrative nuisance where you may be closely scrutinizing social interactions. Or injured. You can still talk in a state and perform simple actions, but you can't use any character traits or scene cues unless you are in a scuffed or healthy state. Interesting. If you are injured or scuffed, there are 2 main ways to get back to a healthy status. You can be healed by resting in a safe space, such as the club headquarters, your personal home, or any temporary lodgings you're staying with. The scene cues Soothing Touch and Patch You Up can also be used to heal. These are available to the staff and the well-to-do archetypes. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know. And then finally, we've got nicknames. Nicknames are given out in the closing credits by the players or the director. They are awarded to the protagonists who, throughout the episode, have succeeded or failed in such spectacular manner that they are now renowned for that feat. The nickname could become from a particular. The nickname could also come from a particular protagonist characteristic, so much so that it becomes their defining feature. So at the start of the game, you do not begin with a nickname, it must be earned through playing, and you can only have one nickname at a time, although it can change throughout the season if the protagonist earns a new one. Nicknames function similarly to scene cues. Think of them as an ability unique to your protagonist. Oh, I quite like this. Like in scene cues, the action you're trying to act will automatically succeed, although it might not always result in your desired outcome. They can only be used for actions related to that nickname, and it can only be used once per session, and they restart at the beginning of a new session. Very cool. Let's talk about Flossie as an example. So Flossie and her clubmates need to enter a magic show's backstage. Flossie decides to use her nickname to convince the backstage crew that she was there to provide up an important costume consultation even. They took her one look at her bedazzled ensemble and let her through. I'm struggling with my words tonight, folks. I am so sorry. Clearly needed more tea or something. This is how to improve the protagonist. We're not going to look at it too much. Again, I can go over it very quickly, but yeah, in those sort of closing credit segment, you can either pick a new scene cue or upgrade it, level up or level up a character trait and earn a nickname. So it's either or one of these ones, and then add a nickname. So that's good to know, because I don't think we did that right. There we go, setting the stage. Okay, so that was character creation. We're going to look at setting the stage. I'm just aware of time, just need to be a little bit careful. So now that we have protagonists, this is we need a common setting to tie this band of misfits together, a place to fight, a reason, but if you're feeling dramatic. A raison d'etre, right? That's how you say it. A social club serves as a place for like-minded individuals to meet and share common interests, foster camaraderie, and get up to some good-hearted or sometimes illegal fun. Yep. They will cultivate a reputation for the club and grow in renown. If they need some extra motivation, they can make their club proud. There are rival clubs that will constantly try to one-up them. They can issue public challenges to their rivals to compete against them and secure further glory. Whilst we walk the players through the steps on how to create a social club, we'll be referring to the club as one newly founded by the groups of your protagonists. With that said, there are other ways to play, and Novel Valid. You can already join an established club. Cool, yeah, that makes sense. All good stuff. Your group will take charge of the club and pick its name and location, the club's unique interests, rival clubs, populate the club with a few key members, and create a devastating dilemma. We won't go into this too much because I think that seems fairly straightforward. So I can give the example that we used. We were the Pretty Avian Society, whose rivals was the RSPB, and we were just birds was our thing. But that's quite cool. Like here you can write a slogan and draw or describe a club emblem. I wonder what the big trouble is. It feels very much anything like this, where it's like this is your Lair, this is your secret club, like, you know, extra things. It's something for the other players to do admin for, and sometimes like players really love that. I cannot be fussed with it at all. I'm not a big fan of like, oh, what have we got in inventory? Oh well, I did all the checks and stuff, and we've got this many of potions. We've got. I'm just not part of that myself. But if this is as quick to set up as it was a character sheet, then I'm sure that's absolutely grand. I'll have a quick look at things. So let's see, theme, easy enough. Some example themes there. A name. Oh, good society, love it. The pro fellas. Oh, fellas, yeah. A bunch of coots. Very good. Some good. Okay, I don't mind those. Those are good names. Location. So where would you put the location of this club? Like, there's some places in the Piccadilly setting. Sorry. Keep in mind that your club is still in its early stages and on the rise. Expanding the club is one of your primary goals. So if you're picking a grand location, make it that is one of the rooms in disuse or disrepair. Slogan and Elmlin. Oh, look at these examples. These are great. Loving that. Bunch of coots. Let's roll some feathers. Hey, if you got an artist with you, get them to do it for you. Or get them to draw it for you. Ask them, obviously. Rival clubs. You could say every club around Peccadillo is a potential rival, but there's one club in particular that seems to exist solely to rile you up. A constant thorn in your side. So yeah, you can either use some of these examples to go against you. You can choose to have multiple rival clubs, whether it's to add variety or flesh out some of the various clubs around Peccadillo. The more the merrier, right? Your first public challenge. Time to show them up. Can be as benign as recruiting 10 new members by the end of the day, or as bombastic as, say, getting a newly introduced steam train named after your club at its inauguration. Oh, cool. Some of these upgrades you get, like printing press. Public challenges are important for your club's renown, and as well as for upgrading and expanding your club. Did you know Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne's Phileas Fogg and his steadfast passport. Oh god, passport? Steadfast valet. Passepartout. No. I don't know why I bothered to read that. Attempt to circumnavigate the world in 80 days on a 20,000 wages set by his fellow club members at the Reform Club. So yeah, that's an example, isn't it? Oh, there's some examples here. Gather the biggest audience to watch your performance or speech. Outlast your rivals exploring the ruins of Haunted Castle. Outlast your rivals in an upcoming dance till you drop tourney. Fab. Oh, some good ones there. Big trouble. We know you're ready to cut the ribbon, smash a bottle of bubbly, and send off your club into the world, but you need to have a big trouble first. Now, I know that sounds intimidating, and that's because it is. This big trouble is a devastating disaster hanging over your club that threatens to dismantle it. Here's some examples. Your club's president gambled away the entire treasury. Oh, typical. The debt is enormous. How will you get away? How will you save the club from utter financial ruin? A recent visit from a dignitary has gone terribly wrong. How will you save the club from getting its name dragged through the mud? And a prized possession has been robbed from your club with a calling card left behind. What will you do? Work with a notable private detective to help you retrieve the asset, or go rogue and try and apprehend the thief yourself? Club funds, they all start at 0. I know it's a sad amount, but fear not, this won't stay at 0 forever. Personalised den initially starts off with 1 room. It's a unique room specific to the club's interest. It's a room for your protagonists to lounge and indulge in their hobbies. You can decide to utilise either a private space for members or use this room as a showcase to grandstand in front of any potential recruits or rival clubs. This room does not offer any gameplay modifications, but it will give your club its own distinct flavour and offer narrative opportunities. Here's some examples, all good. And then finally, getting some members. When you start up your club, you begin with 10 members. Oof, that's so many. Not including the protagonists. They are considered NPCs and if needed, can be played by the director. You can grow up to a maximum of 50 members unless you upgrade your club. There's no need to name every single member, although you're more than welcome to. We recommend naming a few important members that you'd like to interact with. And some member roles as well. So that's quite good to make sure you fill those out. Oh, and you can be... So any of these roles could be an NPC as well. That's really good. Oh, except the treasurer should be a role that needs to be assigned to a protagonist. It needs to be in charge of the... it's so that you're looking at the admin under readies and checking out the social funds. That's very cool. Excuse me. On your social club sheet, you will also need to find space for 2 extra roles. You can leave these blank and develop these roles as you see fit. Perhaps you're part of the tea brewing social club, where you have a role for expert tea brewer and the highly coveted role of tea taster. What a role indeed. Clubs for now, expanding it. We're not going to look at this too much because this is something that you can play all the time. That's quite cool. I like anything that sort of gets you to you've got examples here of different kinds of rooms you can add. Let's check. What's the cabaret room? Social clubs now gather in lavish and salacious evenings of delight as they host cabaret, gambling nights, and other such events. For each instance that it has used, all the protagonists gain plus scandal, limited to 1 use per session. Oh, and it's got how many redditors and what requirements you need. Oh, that's quite cool. I quite like that. A swimming pool. Exciting. Throughout your game, something about trophies here. Throughout your game, your social club will earn various victories and losses, but let's not talk about those, against rival clubs. To commemorate these occasions, you'll be rewarded with trophies which can be displayed in your social club's trophy room, unlocked with club upgrades. These are listed under trophies in your social club sheet. Oh, is there no mechanic for that, though? Or is it just a nice thing to have there? Yeah, it's just a nice thing to have. That's okay. That's okay. Would prefer if it was actually something, but who knows? Alright, let's look at Peccadillo. I want to quickly look at the setting, because I do think it's quite a nice... it's a really nice sort of setting, and it really has that sort of atmosphere for it. Kitty cat. We've seen that one before. Alright, we'll have a quick look how we're doing for time. Okay, we've got another, I'd say, 20 minutes, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't count there for a second. Peccadillo is one of the fast-growing and exciting metropolitan cities. With new citizens taking residence in droves, the new population ushers in a diversity in trade, innovation, culture and lifestyles. It's a sprawling city nestled in a backdrop of green hills and gentle farmlands. In the city, you will find a hodgepodge of architectural features. Quaint suburban cottages dot the outskirts and offer a peaceful refuge from the hustle and bustle of city life. Further in, you will find stately townhouses line up in uniform rows, patchworked with independent establishments, eateries and parks. In the heart of the city centre is Peccadillo's historic district, Peccado, featuring cultural landmarks, majestic squares and a concentration of museums. The industrial dockyards on the harbour's edge are the west of the city. There is a constant cacophony of ships coming into port, dock workers barking instructions, and shipping containers being hauled to and from the city. Snaking its way through the entirety of the city is the River Goss, offering popular pastimes such as rowing or taking a riverboat cruise. Imposing skyscrapers have also begun to sprinkle the skyline, many of which have been built in the last decade. Around these impressive monuments are grand hotels, exuberant restaurants. I completely blanked on the word restaurants there. And impressive department stores. Tram lines can connect the entirety of the city, making it easy to explore Peccadillo's many unique districts and exciting attractions. Taking a trip to Fargo Way and discovering a thriving community of artists and bohemians with many pop-up exhibitions and impromptu live performances. I thought it's like impromptu live performances on every street corner. Boutique stores, antique collectors, and high-end tailors line every front of Bunbury Avenue. Not too far from there is Olin Square. Olio Square, I think that's how you pronounce it, with over 100 bistros and food carts offering a plethora culinary choices. For those who crave a different experience, Monty Pike boasts a range of recreational venues, including jazz clubs, tap rooms, and dance halls. No matter what type of day, there's always something abuzz in Peccadillo. With the city constantly expanding and innovations made seemingly every day, Peccadillo has plenty to explore and endless possibilities. As the director, you use the city and its locations to inspire your game. It's taking inspirations from cities like London, New York, and Paris. Where your game is set is entirely up to you. You can mix and match parts of Peccadillo, rename districts and locales, and give your city a different flavour altogether. I will set it in a real city of your choice. How about Tokyo? Oh, wow. Yeah, Madrid or Los Angeles. I love that idea. Actually, thinking of time, I think I need a little bit of water before I go on to the next stream. So let's have a quick look at what kind of... are we... Ooh, ah. Oh, what a great map! That's so cute. So how many districts do we have in total? We've got 9 different districts. Very good. Oh, there's the cockerel. Sorry, Peccadillo Circle. That's like where all these sort of old aristocrats live as well. And there's an island as well. Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, we've got time to read them. We've got time. There are 9 districts in Peccadillo, all easily within reach of a tram line or bus. You can, of course, hop in your own motor vehicle and zip around, or explore the unique landmarks of each district. Your protagonists and club premises can take residence in any part of Peccadillo they desire. They can even reside further out the city, where bigger estates are located in the countryside. Dunder's Wharf is where you'll find the port harbour. Cargo ships sail in and out at all hours of the day. It is far from the prettiest locale in Peccadillo, nor is it a particularly great place to reside. But without its port, Peccadillo would not be the prosperous city that it is today. Warehouses, storerooms, and shipping containers are all stacked in a maze-like configuration along the harbour, making it only really accessible to those who work in the trade and shipping industry. Imposing shipyards and abandoned rust-covered vessels line the rest of the coastline, enticing many curious kids and teens to explore them for themselves, in brackets, much to their parents' concern. The few residents that still live within eyesight of the docks have grown accustomed to the constant din and commotion of ship horns announcing their presence at all hours of the day and trucks unloading hefty containers. If you're in the market for some rare goods, looking to conduct some business without any prying eyes, or maybe you're just really into ships, Dunder Wharf is the place to be. Gill's Crane is a historic crane and customs post considered to be the oldest standing structure in Peccadillo. Once the crane and structure were no longer in use, the building was repurposed to serve as a tavern for sea-weary travellers with beds in the upper levels. Oh, I love this. Nowadays, Gill's Crane is still going strong with a permanent fixture of the docks, with the notable distinction of it being the first 24-hour service stop for refreshments, offering cheap accommodation and somewhat edible food. Peccadillo Circle. Nestled in the city centre, Peccadillo Circle is... Ooh, are we gonna... No, of course we're not gonna move, are we? Is Peccadillo Circle, where Peccadillo's history is meticulously preserved. It is rather irreverently referred to as the old bit. Here in Peccadillo, the facades of historic landmarks are carefully maintained. Well-tended shrubs and trees frame the classical townhouses, lining narrow, cobbled streets. Sorry, it was a loud motor car outside. Statues, busts, plinths, and niches can be found on every street corner. Very few people still reside in this area, as it is virtually impossible to purchase property in this district. The few that do own property inherited or have significant sway with the city's mayor. Many museums are concentrated in this small area, with the biggest being the Peccadillo Museum of Art and the Museum of Archaeology. Other small and highly eclectic museums include the Stamp Museum, nice, the Museum of Modern Taxidermy, the Cats Throughout History Museum, oh, that's one for us then, and the Museum of Peccadillo, the Museum of Peccadillo Museum History. They make up museums about anything, don't they? And then in the centre there is this big statue of a cockerel on top of a world, which I'm sure is about to... Yeah, there you go, the Coq de Lune. Attributed to the great artist Rowena Duvel, Coq de Lune is a towering bronze statue featuring a rooster perched atop a detailed depiction of the moon. Oh, it's the moon. Looks like an earth to me. Since Piccadillo's earliest days, the statue has been a permanent fixture and is ingrained in the city's identity. It is now used as the official emblem for Piccadillo. The history of how the statue came to be commissioned has long since been lost, making it a hot debate amongst historians on the significance and meaning. For everyone else, it's a humorous landmark that makes a great tourist souvenir. There's some top hits. There are some music. Good. On this side. Welkin Heights. Welkin Heights has always had the reputation of being one of the swankiest areas to live, housing some of the most ostentatious apartments and townhouses. Over the past decade, Welkin Heights has cemented itself even further as the place to be, with skyscrapers springing forth dominating the area. It's attracted entrepreneurs, aspiring celebrities, and the nouveau riche to take up residence. The streets of Welkin Heights are lined with swanky restaurants and months-long waiting lists. Oh, with months-long waiting lists. Premier hotels, showrooms displaying the latest innovations, and exclusive nightclubs that attract some of the theatres and cinema's biggest stars. Other points of interest include Piccadillo Radio Broadcasting and Recording Studio, and Piccadillo's biggest cineplex, the Opal Dome, which plays host to many red carpet events. With so much excitement in the Heights, it's no wonder the streets are filled with reporters looking for their latest headlines, aspiring performers vying for a shot at stardom, and starstruck residents trying to catch a glimpse of their favourite celebrity heartthrob. Coq de Monde. The Coq de Monde, named after the central landmark the Coq de Lune, is an extravagant 12-storey hotel situated at the heart of the Heights. It features its own upscale restaurant of the same name, situated on the top floor with a panoramic view of the city. Right smack dab in the middle of the restaurant is a golden emblazed statue of the rooster perched upon a globe. It is said that it is said to dwarf Piccadillo's own Coq de Lune, but no one has really confirmed the claim. Pender Wards. The Pender Wards is the suburban district of Piccadillo where many residents settle in. Whether it's to raise a family or enjoy a slower pace of life, they still have the convenience of being a short commute away from the city centre. I wonder, are there any first-time buyers there? It's rows and rows of perfectly nice uniform houses with neat little front porches and a space out back for children to play in. It's pleasantly dull and perfectly adequate. Nothing that merits much excitement ever occurs in Pender Wards, but that's just fine for most of its residents. Something about conkers there. If you were born and raised in Piccadillo, it's likely you spent your early years attending school and growing up in the wards. If it wasn't the case, you're bound to have some vague memories of visiting grandparents or other delightful relatives. A notable landmark is the Pender's cricket pitch. Oh, it's very British, isn't it? Right on the outskirts of Pender's Wards is a world-renowned cricket ground. Tournaments are held regularly at these grounds, drawing in crowds and spectators in the thousands, much to the chagrin of the residents. Fargo Way started as a residential area like many other spots in Piccadillo. However, after a few influential artists set up studios in the district, it cultivated a reputation as Piccadillo's central hub for artists, from poets to performers and street buskers to high-fashion designers. The area has a distinct hodgepodge quality to it now. Artists embellish their studio facades with eye-catching murals, abstract sculptures are on display in open squares, and posters are plastered on any available wall space promoting upcoming live performances and stage adaptations. Residents around the area are a lot bolder and more daring than their fashion choices, and reject the standard conventions. There have been many attempts throughout the years to get Fargo Way to visually conform with the rest of the city, but they have all been in vain. Fargo Way still attracts aspiring artists in their droves, making available apartments scarce and pricey. This has led to many hopeful residents living together and embracing a more bohemian lifestyle. Whoa, roll credits. The Maytree... Tree Theatre. Okay, it's the oldest playhouse still standing in Piccadilly, and is also referred to as the Prestige of Piccadilly. This historic theatre has been lovingly maintained and restored throughout the years, with keen attention given to preserving its numerous frescoes along the theatre's dome ceiling. Oh, very cool. Some of the city's most iconic performances and plays have taken place centre stage here, making it the envy of every hopeful opera singer and playwright to debut their work here. I wish I'd known that when I was playing. The character that I was playing was a bohemian that was a singer-songwriter. And so that I could have put that in the backstory. Oh, okay, why did we say this word? The Galley Malfrays, the Fries. The Galley Malfrays district, also known as the Fries, is it's founded south of Piccadilly. This pastoral land is filled with the vast stretches of rolling hills and farmlands. Along the water's edge, the bays swell into magnificent cliffsides. Most residents who live out in the Fries are cattle ranchers and farmers who supply much of Piccadilly's produce. Other residents you might run into here are the occasional retirees, a couple of guest house owners, and the odd reclusive poet seeking the meaning of life in the great expanse of the countryside. Oh, I wandered lonely as a cloud. In recent years, taking a trip to the Fries has been a popular way for Piccadilly residents to take a break in the idyllic countryside without having to break the bank and go very far. Hard and weary workers come out to refresh over a weekend break. Artists congregate together for retreats whilst enjoying painting and looking for some inspiration. A notable landmark here is Waters Cave. Hiking to Waters Cave is a popular choice for those outdoorsy folk who are up for the challenge. This destination then takes hikers on a 7-hour trek through craggy hills of the Gallimonfray countryside. Oh, 7, that sounds dull. Oh my god, I hate walking. I hate running. I hate anything outdoors. Once they reach the cliff edge, hikers must traverse the narrow hewn paths along the cliffside until they get to Waters Cave, an isolated overlook with an undisturbed view of the sea. Okay. Oh, some pubs. Nice. Where would I go? The Cat and Custard Pot. That sounds like great. Where's that one? That's in Fargo Way. Typical artist bar, that. Oh, the Silver Dahlia as well is in Fargo Way as well. I think that's Monty Pike, right? Piccadilly is a city that never sleeps, or more accurately, in the Monty Pike district. Not Monty. Sorry. That the city never truly sleeps. When nighttime falls, Monty Pike lights up, and all along the river's edge, establishments come to life. Along the waterfront are many nightclubs, bars, dance halls, and gambling rooms. People head out dressed to the nines, ready for a night of food, drink, and entertainment. While many seek out Monty Pike for a night of entertainment, for those in the know, there is also business and fortune to be made. Gambling dens and casinos attract those looking to strike it rich, whilst in the back rooms of certain establishments may play host to a number of shady dealings. As much as people love to head out to Monty Pike for a night of fun, no one wants to be the last person staggering back home. Pickpockets have been known to slink about at all hours of the night. Oh, I get a real sense of guys and dolls from this sort of district. Revelry Hall. Monty Pike's biggest dance hall only opens once a week to the throngs of hopeful partygoers. The parties held at Revelry Hall are often talked about as some of the most wild, rakish, and extravagant affairs. Celebrities are more frequently spotted in attendance at these framed parties. The fact alone is enough to entice thousands of partygoers to queue outside for hours hoping to be allowed in. If they don't manage it this time, there's always next week. Alright, the penultimate one, we've got Eventide Hills. Eventide Hills is another suburban area of Piccadilly, filled with charming townhouses with a number of stores and coffee shops dotted around the area. At the heart of this part of Piccadilly, you'll find the Detrop University with a newly expanded curriculum. Amongst the families and workers who reside in the area, young students, professors, and other intellectual types have moved in. With this influx of new people, more businesses have sprung up. Eventide Hills now hosts various regular symposium talks, guest lectures, and specialised libraries and bookshops. The parks in Eventide Hill are also a popular gathering spot, not just for families and governesses to stroll with their children, but also for environmental enthusiasts to partake in botany, ornithology, entomology, and a whole slew of other ology-sounding words. Eventide Park is the largest park in Peccadillo and a safe haven for university students without straying too far from their next class. If you walk far enough into the park, you can almost forget you're even in Peccadillo. That feels very much like Greenwich Park and Blackheath. The park boasts a few landmarks in its walking trails, including conservatories, open-air theatres, a boating pond, a carousel, and an ice rink. Oh. And then finally, we've got Bunbury Avenue. Bunbury Avenue is not officially considered a district, so it should technically fall under Eventide Hills, but a cluster of avenues and side streets has taken on an identity of its own in recent years. Bunbury Avenue has been designated as the go-to place for any shopping needs, and we really mean any shopping needs. Woking Heights may be the best place to shop for designer gowns and the latest automobiles, but in Bunbury Avenue one can find specialist shops and businesses for anything you think of. It's cost of things as well. Nice. There's Agatha's hexes for bespoke spells and brews. 101 tea emporium for 1001 tea emporium for supposedly 1001 different tea blends. Oh, I'd love to go there. Laurie's Laugh-A-Lot for the largest collection of gag gifts and novelty tokens. That sounds. I would not go there. And Jackson and Flotsam for all your nautical needs. Taking a trip to Bunbury Avenue has become a very popular pastime. Many people have taken up the hobby of simply browsing and exploring without the intention to purchase anything. Oh, and then Olio Square. Off the side streets of Bunbury Avenue is Olio Square. Olio, yeah. Notable for its wide variety of food stalls, each toting off their uniquely international or exquisitely strange cuisines. Shoppers on Bunbury Avenue have always found themselves drawn in by the smell and variety in Olio Square. It's the perfect place to recharge before returning to some all-important perusing. Oh, how lovely. And then here you've got all the examples of stuff beyond Peccadillo. So there's that Melisson Island, that's off the bay. There's some other towers and hamlets where people can go to as well if they want to go outside for an episode. The Wolds, interesting. How to get around, some transport stuff as well. So we used cars and automobiles, and as well, presumably the tram as well. And some examples of what to do for activities. So some plot hooks there, I'm guessing as well. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so people can, so we can see overall really. And I'm putting it all together. So yeah, we're going to stop there because the rest of it is mostly about stuff for the director. Sorry, I almost forgot what the word was for the GM there, which is very nice. I'm going to have a quick flick through game mechanics, how they work, so that's quite useful. Pose roles, secret societies. We didn't even get on to secret societies. Very cool. Oh, some examples and stuff there, how to write the script and so on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. That is Flabbergasted, comedic role-playing game. I really enjoyed playing this game. I think it's just in that sort of vein where ridiculousness and fun, and it really encourages you to do your own thing. So I really highly recommend checking it out. Rent too real. Oh, yes, a lot of expensive places in Peccadillo, I will say. But that's it for now. I'm going to go off for 15 minutes to grab something to eat, and then I'm going to be back with another Too Long Didn't Read stream. Yes, it's a double bill tonight. But if you're interested in this game, this is what's it called? It is called RPG. It's not called RPG. It's called Flabbergasted. It's by the Wondrous Tome. There's a link in the chat for where you can get it. I'd highly recommend checking it out. There's some really cool art in there. I think it's a really cool, different kind of game. It's I'm a fan of embracing the silliness and embracing the sort of just those kinds of stories, which maybe other systems don't do as well. Like, I can't imagine playing a story like this with that beautiful setting of Peccadillo. I can't imagine it really in like a 5th edition or Pathfinder way. And it's so straightforward with those 4 character traits as well, and they're really evocative with the language as well. And I love the extras you get with it as well, with the lingo sheet and the different examples of fashions and styles of like what the 1920s were. So highly recommend checking those out. If you're interested in stuff like this. And, well, a one-shot of this will be coming out very, very shortly on my podcast, which is Where What Am I Rolling? A twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. That will be coming out, I think, 3rd of September? This first Sunday in September. And it's run by a friend of the show, Zach, who is part of Realms of Peril and Glory, who's I've done some stuff with in the past, which has been really, really fun. And we had a whole host of people in there, which is really exciting. Sorry, those are just words. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm editing through it just now, and I've had to stop for laughing because there's some cracking bits in it. That we have all sorts, from people being in boats, small children getting one up on us. It's the works. So I highly recommend checking that out when it comes out. Equally, if you're interested in anything else I'm up to, I have which command should I do? I've got Alien coming out. Yeah, we've got episode 3 on Thursday, where we're basically playing through this cinematic scenario, Destroyer of Worlds, and they managed to escape the alien once. And yes, this is very. I will say I'm someone who runs a lot of horror RPGs, lots of mystery RPGs. So this is a nice change. Flabbergasted coming to this, something that I guess is a bit more positive, a bit more sort of, I don't know, it's something light and bubbly about it, which I really love as well. But one day I might be able to run it as a. I'm always like, I'd love to run this as a limited series. Yes, Fiona. Who with? When? Are you going to get paid for it? Probably not. But yeah, Alien's coming out on Thursday. I'm also going to be on, I don't have a prompt for it, but I'm also going to be on Actual Play UK on Friday. I'm going to run a game of Solemn Vale, which we covered a couple of weeks ago, which I'm very super hyped about. They have no idea what's coming. I read through the scenario yesterday and I was like, this is a cool scenario. So we're gonna go through the whole thing on the stream on Friday. We're gonna create the characters and then go into the first part of the scenario, and then next Friday we're gonna go in and finish off the scenario. That's gonna be at 8 p.m. BST. Your local time zones will differ. And that's all I have to say to that. If you take a break, go outside for a brief bit, get some water, grab a snack, etc. I'll be back in about 10 minutes to do Brindlewood Bay, which is a cozy murder mystery RPG, which I'm very much looking forward to. But as always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you can't make it to the next one, that's totally fine as well. Like I said, I'm doing a double bill tonight because I thought, why not challenge myself? And I'm already, I struggled with that first one, so who knows how the second one will go. But yeah, I'll hopefully see you soon, and if I don't see you, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be doing another stream there, so I'm going to wave awkwardly as I find the button. Bye.